Just out on Palisade Head Park on the north shore of Lake Superior. Beautiful view, and my dog is absolutely giddy when she's here. I want to share some thoughts about AI and GPT and a lot of the hype around that. I think I tend to be very skeptical of hype, and I think in this case it's a waste of time to be skeptical. I mean, I've performed a few experiments generating and processing data from open source material that it just goes out and finds, and it performs these tasks that really would take months for a single person to do, and depending on the complexity of what they're dealing with. And then, generating the deployment code, the code itself, some of the transformation stuff. I mean, basically advanced boilerplates that get me so close to done. It's kind of like pushing work to like a junior developer. And then, focusing in on the more sophisticated business logic. I think this is a very big deal. Of course, I'm not pretending I'm the first to say this. So I'm kind of joining the hype. I'm reminded of a story that a good friend of mine told. He was still in college studying physics, and he started interning at a finance company doing, pretty sophisticated technology work. Distributed computing was kind of a radical idea in the early 90s, and he was all over that, and had his exposure to mainframe as well. Just awesome. But his dad said, "Well, you're being foolish. What I'm seeing, what I'm reading, probably Forbes when it was more credible, but still, often questionable." He said, "Well, you're just going to drop pictures and it'll generate the code for you." And that was a humorous thing to remember, because, by 1995, something happened. There'd already been some buzz about the Mosaic browser. Guys like us were probably driving people crazy, pointing to what's coming and getting a little overly excited about it. And then the Netscape browser was released, and didn't take long for the world to change. And by the late 90s, you couldn't find enough people to fill those positions. At Amazon, there's stories about going to cafes and just recruiting people that seemed to look smart enough, and then they would just invest in training, for example. So Seattle was tapped out very quickly with this sudden spike in demand. I have to wonder if this is a similar situation. Of course, it's kind of validating what we found humorous, the idea that you wouldn't have to code as much. But there's still going to be an enormous demand as far as making smart moves, wherever this is going to disrupt things in business and everyday life. I think there's going to be some very laughable anecdotes coming out of companies, some pretty serious failures. I could go into the dystopian stuff, but that's for another day. But this disruption demands smart tech people. So if you're coming out of college right now and you think, "Oh man, I shot for the wrong career because of stuff like this," I'm certain you're wrong. Lean into this, do some experiments, think about those more difficult integration and data problems. How do you get the data? How do you map it? How do you transform it? How do you deliver it to whoever needs to receive that data, whether it's a system or a person or both? Have fun. This is This is big, and again, the disruption alone is going to cause everything to unsettle, and that's actually a good thing. Thank you.